What's up, guys? It's Matt here with Tanks Lawn Maintenance. It is 8:20 a.m. Monday morning, March the 9th, 2026, year of our Lord. And this is the second time I've tried to make this video, guys. I was about 5 or 6 minutes into the last video, and I've got a customer that lives on the street behind me that pulled up in front of my house and was getting out. And I walked down there and met him, and he wanted to talk to me. And we're actually not going to service his yard this week. He was supposed to get serviced today, but we're going to hold off. And the reason being is because his yard looks exactly like mine right now. It's he takes very good care of it. And I came out all the way until November, so there's no weeds or anything on his property. And the very first cut, he pays me a lot of money to do that very first cut. He paid me nearly $200 to get his bushes in check and everything, and to spray everything in his beds and everything, and to scalp his lawn. So he pulled up and he told me, he said, "Man, I just don't think my lawn is ready to be scalped yet." He said, "Is it possible we can hold off 2 weeks?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "What's it look like?" He said, "It looks exactly like yours." And I said, "Yeah, I'm not scalping mine yet either." So no big deal. No big deal. It stinks, because I like making money, man. But hey, what can you say, right? And you can't force a customer to let you cut their grass. And if it doesn't need it, it doesn't need it, man. I'm not in the business of doing a pointless service. You get what I'm saying? I'm trying to actually be a good service provider is what I'm trying to do. Not trying to steal from anybody. But also, guys, I'm sitting here in the driveway, man, trying to give it a few minutes. It's for one, it's foggy right now, and everything is soaking wet because of the fog. I mean, it was thick fog this morning up here. I don't know what's going on. We didn't get no rain yesterday. We were supposed to rain yesterday, but we didn't get any, and which is fine by me. But it's some very thick fog, and it's got everything just dripping. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna give it a few minutes, let everything dry out, and to keep it from clumping as bad. It's gonna take me a little bit anyway today, because the customers that I'm servicing today, it's all of them. It's their very first mow of the season, and you know how that is, guys. That first mow, you got to get the edges back in shape. You got to run a stick edger over everything, and then sometimes even after you run a stick edger, you got to clean it up with a string trimmer if you want it to look good. We're not gonna get into that debate. Okay, that's not what this channel's about. I'm not going to debate with any of y'all. But anyways, and also you got a lot of winter weeds around the perimeter of everyone's property, like fence lines and driveways, edges, just different things like that. There's a lot of poena and a lot of clover coming up on the perimeter of everyone's property, or at least it was last week, and I'm assuming it'll probably be the same way this week. But no big deal, right? Got till dark to get it done, man, and I'm gonna go until I can't. But it is supposed to rain today, but it's not supposed to rain till I want to say like 6:30 or 7 o'clock. Hopefully I can get done by then. But also, guys, it's daylight savings time was Saturdays, man. I hope you all remembered to set your clocks back. I did, but I can tell you this, man. I think they kind of jumped the gun a little bit this year on daylight savings time, because I came out here at 7:45 and it was still pitch black dark at my house, and I just think that's kind of ridiculous, you know. But I don't get paid to make those decisions. But anyways, guys, the landscaping job I had this past weekend, it wound up not being a landscaping job. It was a leaf cleanup and a bush trimming job. It wound up just being bushes. I misunderstood the text with my aunt, and originally the job was going to be $900. There was a lot of leaves on the property, and I needed to get a dump trailer. The dump trailer is $200, and I was charging $700 to do the leaves and the bushes, to remove all of it. And the only reason I needed the dump trailer is because it was a large volume of leaves with the bush clippings, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to fit all that without making a bunch of trips. You know what I mean? So, and I was trying to cut back on that to make it just one trip. So when I got out there Friday, planned on getting started, you know, she had texted me and told me that they got the leaves good enough to where they could take pictures, but they still need everything done. And so scheduled it for this week, or this past week. Got out there Friday. They didn't get the leaves good enough to take pictures. They got the leaves out of there completely. And I'm so glad that I didn't rent a dump trailer, man. You know, I went to go rent a dump trailer Thursday. I called the people Thursday night, and everybody was nothing was available, you know. And the ones that they did still have, they were reserved for other people. So couldn't get a dump trailer. And I'm so glad that I didn't go rent a dump trailer, man, because we'd have had words if I had of. So but it is what it is. Got the job done. Not the 300, you know, only 700 of that 900 was going to be for the business. The other 200 was going to be for the dump trailer. So didn't get a dump trailer and didn't do the leaves. So I charged $350, and that was, you know, it took us 4 hours. I had to have my son out there to help me Saturday, because there was some of that stuff I needed somebody to hold a ladder, because the ladder was I had to put a ladder on the side of a hill to get some of these bushes, and I wasn't comfortable doing it with me alone. So I got my son to come out there and help me, and I paid him to clean everything up while I was cutting, and we knocked it out in 4 hours, which is actually faster than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to take about 5.5 hours. So after I paid my son and everything, the business made $300, which isn't great, but it isn't terrible either. And you know, we only worked 4 hours, but it is what it is, man. You know, it's like that sometimes. Sometimes things happen and you have to bite the bullet, you know. But still made a profit, man. We didn't lose money. Did lose out on the opportunity for some money, but we didn't lose any money. You get what I'm saying? So got that done, and that's checked off of the list for the landscaping stuff. Today I've got 9 properties. Today I had 10. I actually had 11, but one's wanting to wait till April, and the other one is wanting to wait till the end of the month to scalp everything. So we got 9, and this week's pretty much going to be the same as it was last week, except for Thursday, I think it is. I'm only going to have 4 or 5 properties Thursday, because some people just aren't ready to be mowed yet. They haven't called me, you know what I mean? And but all of my recurring customers, I've reached out to all of them, and everybody's on the schedule so far, except for the ones that decided to hold off until April. And we're out making money, man, and that's what we want to do. But anyways, guys, last night I had a customer call me, and I picked this customer up in June, I think it was. It was either end of May or the beginning of June this past year. And she fired her previous provider because they wasn't doing what they said they were going to do. They told her that they were going to come out and treat the lawn, mow the lawn. She's got one bush on the whole property, and it's not really a bush. It's more of it's an arborvitae. It's a very small arborvitae. But they were supposed to take care of that, and they were going to take care of the crepe myrtles. Well, the only thing they were doing was cutting the grass, and they wasn't edging or weed eating when they were cutting the grass. So, and they wasn't blowing everything off either. So she called me. I came out there, gave her, you know, her lawn looked terrible. It did. There was a bunch of bare spots, bunch of weeds. The spot where there was green, 90% of it was weeds. There was very, very little Bermuda poking through. And so she asked me what she needed to do to get her lawn looking good again. And I told her, I said, you know, I'll come out here and I'll put you on a schedule, a weekly or bi-weekly schedule. And I said, we'll keep it cut at the same height. I said, you need to water it 2 to 3 times a week for 15 to 20 minutes a zone. And you need to let me aerate it. And you also need to hire a weed and fertilizer company. And so she hired me. I was charging her $65 just to cut the grass. And I was bagging it because it was eat up with weeds. And also, she hired her son-in-law, or she didn't hire her, she got her son-in-law to aerate the property for her, because he has a pull behind aerator for his lawn tractor, and he came out there and aerated everything for her. And also she hired Matthews Turf Management, the weed and fertilizer company, and she started watering her grass, and it didn't take but about 2 months, and her grass was nice and full and lush and green, and was not one single weed on the property at all. And I actually cut services with her at the beginning of October because her lawn went completely dormant in October. It was just so dry in October, it wasn't getting any water other than what she was doing, and she slowed it down a little bit because, you know, the lawn was starting to go dormant in October. And so beginning of October, we just cut services, and I checked on her once a month just to make sure she didn't have no weeds popping up or anything like that. And I didn't get serviced all winter long. I showed up last week to mow the property, and it looked the exact same as it did when I left it the last time in October. And so I skipped it again and told her I'd be back every 2 weeks to check on it, and once it's ready, I'll scalp it and bag it and start the bi-weekly mowing service. And she was ecstatic about that, and she texted me and told me she was glad she finally has a lawn care or a landscaper that's not trying to rake her across the eyes with money and all that good stuff. So anyway, got a text last night from this lady, and she said, "You don't do crepe myrtles? You don't cut the crepe myrtles?" I said, "I do." I said, you know, the ones you got in your yard, I said, I'd have to look at them to be sure. I said, but you know, the ones in your yard, they're typically $60 per tree. I mean, they're good size crepe myrtles. They're not little crepe myrtles. And I said, it'd be $60 per tree, if I'm not mistaken. I said, but I'd have to look at it to know for sure. And I said, it could be less, it could be more. And then I said, with the amount you got, I said, I would have to charge you a dump fee as well, because there's 8 of them, and they're big crepe myrtles. And about 2 hours later, she texted me back and said, I'm just gonna get some quotes from some people that can take care of the whole thing. My husband is old and retired and has had several procedures, and he just can't do it anymore, so everything's on me. And so I texted her back, and I said, I don't understand. I said, you were, you know, you didn't tell me that you wanted your crepe myrtles cut. I said, if you want them cut, I can cut them for you. I said, but they're definitely not going to be the same price as what I'm charging you to cut your grass. And she didn't say anything back. She didn't reply, and she left me on red. So I said, okay, and just left it alone. I was thinking to myself, you're talking about 8 crepe myrtles that are anywhere from 15 to 20 foot high, and you think I'm coming out there and cutting all those crepe myrtles for $60 to cut all them things? No, that's not the way this works. And if she wanted to do it this way, I would come out there and cut one every other week, and I would have done that during the wintertime, just cut one every other week for $60. And truth be told, that may even been $50. I don't know. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm not gonna cry about it, not gonna complain about it. Just wanted to tell y'all that. But yeah, the fog has lifted some here, and the driveways are starting to dry out. Man, there was a lot of fog in here this morning. It's very thick, and it had the driveways and everything soaking wet. Matter of fact, you can see in front of all of our yards where it looks like we all ran irrigation last night. But I know I didn't run irrigation. I can't speak for my neighbors, but my yard looks the same way. It looks like I ran irrigation last night, because the road in front of my street is in front of my yard is soaking wet. So, but anyways, guys, just got a call from my father-in-law before I put this video, or before I started making a video, and he told me that right across the river in South Carolina, there's a gas station over there that's got gas for $2.75 a gallon, and they have non-ethanol gas for I think he told me it was like $4 a gallon, and I was like, $2.75 a gallon. I was like, I was thinking to myself, like, why would I drive way over there to get gas for $2.75 a gallon when I can get it for somewhere between $2.60 and $2.80 right here at the house? And I asked him, I said, well, what is it right here in town? And he said it was $3.04. He said, yesterday when I filled my wife's car up, it was $3.04 a gallon. I said, oh, wow. So I guess that stuff that popped off over there in Iran, I guess it's finally starting to have an effect on us, which absolutely sucks, man. So, but anyways, guys, just wanted to share that little bit of information with you. Gas is expensive right now in my area. $3.04 a gallon in my area is expensive. We haven't seen those prices since 2022, but everything's been under $3 a gallon. So yeah, so it's looking like we're back to that mess again, you know what I mean? But anyways, guys, I need to get this show on the road, try to get these 9 properties done as fast as I can. But look, man, I hope y'all have an amazing day out there. I will cut y'all back on the next video. Till then, y'all be blessed. Y'all keep cutting that grass and keep making that money. Holla at y'all. Bye.